Uh, Boom. So if you want to see it again, or you know somebody who missed it, please let them know, but we'll get that out. So welcome once again to the second of the pre-pets Zoom meetings. Um, I am at this point going to turn it over to District Governor-elect Pam, who will get us started for the evening.
Hello, everybody, and welcome.
Hi, Pam.
Um, PEs and AGs and honored guests, and Ken, we're glad you're on with us this evening. This evening, we're going to go over a couple things. We're going to talk about membership, engaging them, attracting new members, and that will be Steve and Dana. And Rick's going to talk to us about the budget, some things that we might not know to add in if it's something that our particular club has never done, like the four-way test or maybe RILA. So we're asking you to consider this if you haven't already done it. We want to let you know some of these expenses so you can get ready for your budget. We'll wrap it up. We'll let you know about the next pets. And remember, that will be all three districts. So we'll have a different link and it will be at 6:30. So I'm giving you that little warning now. Thanks a lot, Jim, for putting this together and helping our team come up with this training for our second pre-pets. And I think that takes us to about the time. Rick, are you ready?
I think I could be ready.
Okay.
So tonight, I'm going to give you the recipe for your club's budget. And Jim has the first slide up there. Normally, we would start with 2 eggs, sugar, butter, some flour, and maybe the kitchen sink. But this recipe requires quite a bit of preparation. In fact, a good budget is 90% preparation work and 10% cooking time. What are the basic ingredients of a budget? Well, income and expenses, itemized down on a sheet of paper. Here are some of the income sources you may have in your club. Jim, the next slide. There's a secret sauce a good club budget needs, and it all starts with goals and planning for next year. Now, what new projects, programs are you going to do for next year? Do you want to increase members? What are you going to do? Invite them to a meeting? Who's going to pay for that meal? Present them with an award or certificate? Have a fun event such as a Super Bowl party?
Progress.
How are you going to pay for the food and the drinks? Do you want to run a membership contest among your members? Will there be a prize that needs to be budgeted for? Begin a new project in the community. What kind of needs are necessary for the project? What are the sources of income? Will members be charged? Will there be a fee for this event? Will you have a business sponsor it? Are there going to be is there going to be a start of a new fundraiser to increase your club's income for next year? Do you want to recognize people in the community in a particular way? There could be costs involved. Have you thought about applying for the Foundation District grant for a project? Those funds need to be matched by your club. Thus, the club must have 50% of those funds to be put into the project. So it needs to be budgeted. Have you thought about sending someone to RILA, Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, or having a student become involved with the four-way test speech? There's a cost involved that needs to be budgeted for that. Should you want to participate in that event? There's PETS training and district assembly. that need to be budgeted for. Jim, the next slide. This slide shows the district costs that we currently know. Whoops, that's not the, there we go. There's always the request that comes in last minute for that the entire club thinks may be a great project. But if we didn't plan for the expense, your hands will be tied. So establish a reserve fund. Some of those projects may need a budget within a budget. The good news, unless you're a club that is just starting out this year, more than likely you had a budget this last year. If you have not seen a copy of it, ask your current president or treasurer for a copy of it to review now. This will give you a great starting point. In case you didn't know, many club secretaries and treasurers are serving a life sentence in their Rotary positions. If you're lucky enough to have one of those prisoners, this is not their first rodeo, and they will know what to do. But they will need your input, especially for new projects and fundraisers. They should be the first people that you talk to about next year's budget now. Many of your budget items are going to be the same as last year. So it's a matter of looking at the budgeted amounts from last year, checking the budgeted line items so far and what was either spent or raised in this Rotary year, and estimating a budget amount for the line item for next year. If you have several years worth of budgets, you and the treasurer should have a historical perspective on several years of each of the line items. Now you and the treasurer should become buddy-buddy. It is so easy to say, we don't need that for 5 more months. But again, you have planning to do. So you know what new or additional expenses you need to account for in your projects and events for next year. You also need to develop a budget, which takes time with the treasurer. I'd also suggest that you include your vice president, the one coming after you, in all of this planning. They will then have some time or some knowledge for their years of their year when they're president. And what goes into it, especially if there will be some continuing projects or funds that may need to be extended more than 1 year. There will be known fixed costs in your budget, and then there will be variable costs. These will be different for every club. Some of the fixed costs would be DAC/DB, rental room costs, RI dues, district dues, pets training, district assembly, and other known district costs, which are kind of on the screen there. Do you send your president-elect or president to the district conference? And does the club help pay for that? Again, these are common costs that most clubs would have and need to be considered for next year's budget. So write some of these down, and this will be a good starting point for you and your treasurer. Some of the variable costs could be meal expenses, speaker gifts, flowers, recognitions, donations to the Rotary Foundation, club service projects, donation expenses, etc. These obviously are harder to nail down and estimate. Remember, a budget is not made and forgotten, and it can be altered anytime throughout the year. It should be reviewed monthly by you, the treasurer, and the board. Once the budget is developed and reviewed by your financial or executive team, you need to present it to your board. This needs to be done no later than May. Did you circle that date? So that they have time to review the budget, ask questions, and so revisions can be made before the June board meeting, when the budget needs to be approved by your current board of directors, so that you have an operating budget in place by July 1st. So you really need to be starting on next year's budget no later than March 1st. That's 3 weeks from now. Circle the calendar, take my advice, just do it now. Jim, the last slide. It's not fair to your treasurer, board, club, or you to procrastinate on this. You don't have to be a controller of a company. You don't even have to be a numbers person. And you don't have to do it all alone. Your treasurer will be able to guide you through the process, but it has to be done. You must have a budget in place by July 1st. Are there questions? Don't all speak at once.
I can't see hands in this process, but if you do have questions, there is the chat down at the bottom. So please put those in there.
Must it be a balanced budget?
Oh, now we get into details that are, it should be. Income and expenses, unless you guys have, unless your club has a whole lot of money, extra money that they're sitting on, and you want to get rid of some of that money, I would say, yes, it should be a balanced budget. Well, if there's no other questions, that's the recipe to a budget.
Hey, Rick, thank you. There were a lot of good points there. And what we were trying to do was just to show you a few of those variables. If your club does RILA, we thank you. If your club hasn't done RILA but would consider it, you kind of know now what to budget in for that. If your club has not ever done the 4-way test contest or speech contest, and if you have done it, great, then maybe you would consider doing that, or going in with another club and doing it together. That's another way to do it. There's the price for that. This sort of lets you know a few of these variables that are going to come up. And the One Summit, we did mention this before. We are replacing that fee because we're not charging for the district training assembly. It's going to be virtual. So we are going to be charging the clubs for the One Summit, but you can send 3 people for that. So that's going to be in August, and we're going to have a good time with that. If there aren't any other questions, I know we're a little bit ahead of time, but Steve, are you prepared?
I am.
I know you are. I don't mean it that way, but
Okay.
thank you.
So Steve Campbell, I'm the Area 15 AG, and I've been a Rotarian since 2015, and I'm in the Shepherdstown Club. I was asked tonight to talk about engaging new members. I know I speak in monotone, but this is something that's very important, and I'd like to make sure that we all understand how important it is really to engage your club. It's very important because you want to keep people coming to the club and experiencing a good fellowship and good delivery of communication. And so it's important to know what engagement is and how you can engage your club a little bit more. And there are some resources out there. So I'm going to probably call on a couple people, a couple good sports who are pretty salty in this area by their experience being a Rotarian and being in leadership positions. So Swan, if you're out there, can you tell me what does engagement mean to you?
Yes, thank you, Steve. Steve. Engagement of members is including them in, I'm not going to use the word engaging, including them in decision-making, in plans going forward, in asking their direction, their ideas. What does the club, from their perspective, ask for? They're in a position perhaps to answer those questions. They're in a position to question those questions.
That's
Engage-
excellent. That's excellent from Rotarian. I dug a little deeper and I actually wanted to know what the definition is. So Jim, next slide. The definition has a couple of them. It's an arrangement to meet or present at a specified time and place, a job or period of employment, especially as a performer, and it's emotional involvement or commitment. So Swan, you touched on a few of those as it relates to a Rotary Club, would be, in my mind, the emotional involvement or commitment. So you need to really motivate your members that you actually get that involvement and commitment so that they will continue to come and get something fruitful out of the Rotary meetings and a fruitful meaning of what Rotary is. So how does it relate to Rotary and which one fits? Go ahead, Jim. Next slide. So how does it fit into the Rotary? I did a little bit of research on this. There's some very good history on it. They were the 2024-2025 Rotary goals for priority. Next slide. So the decisions from the first meeting of the 2023-2024 Rotary International Board, which occurred in May of 2023, they adopted four goals for priority, and you can see them there. These are goals for the Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation. And you'll see this a number of times. Matter of fact, the last AG meeting we had, Pam presented this to the AG training. So it's the goals for priority one is to increase our impact. Goals for priority two is to expand our reach. And you'll see the one for goals for priority three is to enhance participant engagement. And then there's the fourth one, which is our ability to adapt. So it actually falls into the Rotary International's goals for all Rotary clubs. Next slide. So Pam, what's it mean to enhance participant engagement? What do you think? You're muted.
Yep. Sorry, guys. I just see that. I would say involvement. I think everybody wants to feel a part of. And how do we enhance that? I think is by making it inclusive. If we see someone that we know they have a strength in a certain area, but they maybe haven't spoken up, or maybe they're new, just ask them, hey, why don't you join us? We're going to do, road pickup. We're going to do read aloud. And
Okay.
to me, that's how you enhance their participation and engagement, is by asking them and including them.
Yeah, that's excellent example. So Jim, next slide. So enhance member engagement tools that support clubs and meetings, their members and needs, and increasing member retention. Another one is increase collaboration and connection among participants, particularly Rotary and Rotaract clubs. Highlight opportunities offered through Rotary to foster professional connections and build skills. Next slide. There are some resources out there. So are there any resources out there? Next slide. If you go into My Rotary Learning Center membership, best practices for engaging members, you will see some resources for you to use to help enhance engagement. And so the first one is making new members feel welcome. Things like new member orientation, explain Rotary's history, discuss club services, activities, and social events, and connect with a mentor. Here in a couple clubs are actually getting sergeant at arms. So we know that one club in our area has a sergeant at arms where they come up to you when you're visiting the club and they get your name and how long you've been in the Rotary or what your occupation is, and they announce you at the meeting. So that's a good way to make people feel welcome. Making the meetings worthwhile, implement club activities, watch motivational speakers, present community updates, have local speakers come in. The club I've been at, we don't only have clubs from charities come in and talk to us. We have really interesting speakers in the local community. We live near Shepherd University, and we've actually had astronomers come in. I was looking at Martinsburg's newsletter, and they actually had somebody speak on taxes, the changes in the tax rates, and I thought that was really, really timely because we're coming up on tax season. So it's stuff that's really worthwhile for the membership, and they could sit back and say, hey, this is pretty cool. I'd like to come back to this meeting. Inspiring action to make an impact. Assess the need, assess the member skill, build partnerships, set goals, and measure the outcomes. Another way to enhance engagement is to build personal connections. Try extending the meeting a little bit longer so they can have more discussion. We go over a lot of business at a meeting. We only have an hour to get through it. Then you have your speaker. Consider extending your meeting so you can talk. I notice a lot of people at my club hang around after the meeting and have more dialogue. Build in some networking and also plan social events, which is, I think, what the Rotary is really good at, planning social events. Another way to enhance engagement is to implement more creative options, change the club's rules, explore new models, offer a different club, offer somebody to go to a different club, or offer alternative memberships. So people can't really make your club, just don't turn them away and say, well, that's too bad. Follow up with them, find out if there's another club that's probably closer to them or more, they're like if it's more retirees and they're not comfortable being with a bunch of, younger people, we'll recommend a club that has more retirees in it.
I've got
Alternative
some other ideas
memberships.
for you, Steve, when you're done.
Pardon me?
I've got a couple of ideas for you when you're done.
Sure. Okay. So alternative memberships. We have started the evening club in Shepherdstown, so that was more appealing to people because they couldn't afford they thought the breakfast was a little bit too much, and the time that they had to come, they couldn't get up in the morning. So we have now an evening satellite club. An alternative would be starting an alternative membership. Next slide. So I talked about engagement tonight. Conclusions are I gave you the definition of what engagement was, how engagement fits into Rotary. We talked about that was the Rotary International Board's priority goal number 3. I talked about increasing participant engagement. And believe me, there's a lot of resources out there. If you go into My Rotary, you will see exactly what I just discussed and the exact layout, and they give you some scenarios and you can play with it a little bit to give you some good ideas. And also to discuss tonight, ideas to increase member engagement. And with that, next slide, I think I'm done. Yes, I am. So is there any questions?
Dick, you had a statement?
Yes,
You're up, Dick.
you know, we're talking about new member engagement, which is all well and good. But half our membership problem is retention. More than half of our membership problem is retention. So when you talk about engagement, you also have to talk about old member engagement. Many of us have Rotary clubs that have members who've been there forever. But they just come to the meeting and they go home. Because they're starting to feel like they've been left behind. Because I can tell you as a 40+ year Rotarian, in the last 15 years, Rotary has changed a lot quicker than it did in the 35 to 40 years prior. And they don't know where they are. But I can tell you a story about a guy who did that. And he would come to the meeting every week and he'd sit there and he'd go home. And all of his contemporaries had either moved off or died, but he was still there. He was just that thing in the corner, like the drugstore Indian that just sat there and said nothing. And the club didn't know what to do with him. And one day somebody went up to him and finally said to him, he said, you know, what interests you? And the guy said, horses. And they said to him, well, could you tell us something about horses and why they're so special to you? And this guy lit up. And all of a sudden he started engaging with the club again. And he realized that he had something that he could teach members of the club because somebody had finally said to him, what can you do? Don't ever forget that engagement is not only about new members. It's about every member of your club. That's all I got.
Thanks, Dick. And there are a lot of clubs that use mentors in the process of bringing in new members. But the mentor is a perfect position for a lot of senior members to be involved with too, because as Dick just alluded to, it gives them some purpose to be involved with it and keeps them connected with the younger members. But really, it's more about that is they have a function at that point and they aren't left behind in that process. So I think it's great. Swan, you had a comment. Go right ahead.
Well, Dick, you bring up an important point. One of the other things that can happen is not just asking them what they're interested in, but asking the members who have been true and stayed and solid and so forth and so on, is asking them to step forward and do their speech again about who they are. Because the vast majority of people who are new have no idea who the rest of us are. And so suddenly, when you ask somebody to stand up and talk to us about their journey through life, oh my gosh, they become animated and we become more animated with them. So, Dick, you're not just one of the old guys. You got some good ideas.
Great. Karen, you had a comment.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna agree with Swan. That's exactly what we've been doing, is trying to do some more of these classification talks. And I think our members are finding them, old and new, are finding them really interesting, because it's a chance where they really get to know more about their members. And I agree, like I came in just new a few years ago and I didn't know anybody, so I love hearing those classification talks. So yeah, Swan, I was exactly the same thing. I agree. Yeah, 2 thumbs up.
Pam, you got a comment?
Now you're going to hear the third person. I was going to say, whenever we do our club bios, we usually do one of our more seasoned members and one of our newer members, because really this topic is about engaging all members, not just new, but this is keeping everybody engaged. But and like you say, they just love it because they get to hear something about one of our more seasoned members that, oh my gosh, you mean you actually started that radio station now that so and so, is involved with, or et cetera, et cetera. So yes, I totally agree. But and the one thing about this and in the engagement, if we're talking then just about the new members, is I do like the idea of the mentorship. We usually do try to pair a member with somebody the best way we can, and at least kind of, follow them along for a little while, be sure they're getting the hang of things, see if they have any questions. And that has helped as far as retention goes. So, and like has been said before, some of your senior members might be, really great at that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I will tell you that from my own experience, my club actually runs what we call Rotarian of the Week, which is just an alphabetical rotation right on through from all the members. And it does exactly what was talked about before. It gives a chance for a senior member to take like 3 minutes or so and just do a very brief classification talk, just to tell us who they are and where they're from. As I think Karen pointed out, newer members have no idea about 80% of the people that are in your club at that point. So it's a great opportunity just to take a few minutes and let some of the longer term members explain a little bit about themselves, what they do, where they started from, where they grew up, and how many siblings they have. I mean, whatever floats the boat at that point, but it does give everybody a chance to know the members a little bit better as you go through that. Terrific. Any other comments?
Well, I appreciate everybody's participation, and Dick, I really see your point, and I do reach out to the other members in Shepherdstown to make sure I greet them every day, even the ones who've been there quite some time. I make that effort to do that, but it's good to actually find out, what they have a passion for, and try to have them share that to the club. I think that's a great idea. So thank you for that input, and Pam and Swan and Karen, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Steve. Now we're going to hear from Dana Orsini, and he's going to talk about attracting new members. When Dana is done, we're going to have enough time, and I want to hear from some of you all about membership. How do you attract new ones? How do you retain them? How do you engage them? So let's see, and we'll just have a little bit of like a little round robin and see what we can come up with. Dana, will you take it
Pam.
away?
Sure.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Pam. And I want to thank all of you that are president-elects. You're stepping into a responsibility, but it's a great responsibility. Our district, our clubs need leaders. So thank you so much. Pam's going to be an excellent governor. She's putting together an excellent team of leaders. So I'm looking forward to an exciting year. Now, I have the topic of attracting new members. Okay. I want to make it clear, I'm all in with engaging members, but that's not the topic I was given. I'm given attracting new members. Okay. So if we were in person, I would ask all of you to give me the big eye roll, because I know that's what you're thinking. Here he is again. He's going to talk about membership. Okay. So we'll get that out of the way, because yeah, we're going to talk about attracting new members. Okay. So I'm going to ask a couple or ask for your input. Why do we need to attract new members? Anybody?
Some die.
There you go. Summed
Yeah,
up.
attrition and keep the club alive. Yeah.
Okay.
To get
New
the work
ideas,
done.
new projects.
New ideas, new projects. Okay. Anything else?
Serve the community better.
Oh, increase our impact. Sure. Okay.
I think someone said, get the work done, and I kind of overrode them.
Wow.
Yes, that's all right. Yep, yep, yep.
Okay. Okay, so those are great. I'm looking at the list I put down here. Share the workload. Just what you said, more hands. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. New ideas. When you bring in new people, you get new ideas. It's tremendous. I have experienced that in our club as we've grown a lot recently. But wow, the things that we did the first 25 years, because they were the only ideas we had. Now it's just a whole different ballgame. So new ideas are great. Increasing the impact of what you can do. Part of it's through ideas, part of it's for the shared workload. But it comes more than that. When you get new members, maybe you get more giving to the foundation. Who knows? But you are going to increase your impact. It might help shine up your club a little bit and get it some excitement and some vibrancy. And then, Rick, you said it, and Steve echoed it, survival. And that is the biggest thing. Attrition is absolutely real. Don't let anyone tell you different. Dick brought it up that retention is a problem, which it is, but North America, the average attrition is 15%. Our district is just under that at 14.6% in attrition. Okay, so we're doing great. Our zone is at over 16%. We're doing better than they are. So why are we talking about getting new members? It's because our attraction rate is only 11%. Okay, you getting that? So for every 14 we lose, we only bring in 11. Ooh, that's not going to work. You don't have to be a math genius to see that that's not going to work. Now there's a comfort zone of about, most clubs can deal with losing 2 people a year. And they say, oh, that's all right. But it's not all right. Because once you get down to that 10 and drop to 8 and drop to 6, boy, the writing's on the wall, right? So, in our 11 years as a district, we've lost 7 clubs. We have 2 clubs getting ready to merge by the end of the year because neither feel they're vibrant enough to carry on as their own. Okay, so we need to attract new members, just point blank. Jim, let's run that video just to emphasize this. Puts a little smile on the topic, but I think you guys will enjoy this.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Stein, the District Membership Chair for District 7730. I'm here today talking to the last Rotarian in the Rotary Club of Attritionville. How you doing today, Tom? Hey, John. I'm doing well. Hope you are. So, Tom, let's talk about your club. I know you were founded in 1972. That's a long time ago. Can you tell me about it?
In the day, we had about 40 members. We had the mayor of Attritionville, we had the high school principal, the president of the bank. We had virtually anybody who was anybody in our club.
That is fantastic. How many do you have now?
Let's see, we've got one.
Boy, it must be tough to have a club of 4. One.
Well,
How do you run your meetings?
so we enjoy the small intimate feel of our club, and every week George does the pledge, Don does, the 4-way test, see the happy dollars. We eat breakfast and go home. I guess now we have to do that by myself.
Do you have any speakers?
We did, I'm gonna say 1999. He was great, but I really don't remember.
Do you have any service projects?
Oh, yeah, we do a pancake breakfast every year. We raise lots of money for local charities.
That is great. Can you tell me a little more about it?
Well, back in the 90s, we used to net about $5,000 and everybody pitched in and, we had a blast, but of course, it's a little tougher when you're down to 4 members. And actually, we all just basically went and had pancakes and kicked in $10. So we made $40.
So how did your membership go from 40 to 4? I mean, 1.
Well, we never wanted to be one of those big clubs. Too many rules, no fun. You know how those clubs are. Everybody in town wanted to be in our club. It was a real privilege. And so we really didn't need to do anything to recruit new members.
So what happened?
Yeah, we'd lose one member here a year and before we knew it, we were down to 15, 10, and then got down to 4 for last 4 or 5 years. And I guess now we're down to 1.
You ever try to get new members?
We tried last year. We invited this guy who was a financial planner. He was a young guy and had him visit our club, but he never came back.
Why not?
That's what I don't understand. We have 4 70-year-old guys here that, just love to sit and talk about the good old days. We don't do anything else, but man, we love each other's company. It's great laughs. Who wouldn't be a part of that? But I said he had too much on his plate, but I think just that younger generation. Plus, he said he had trouble with the meeting time.
What time is your meeting?
4:30 a.m. on Tuesday mornings.
What?
Yeah, well, we're all up, and it's real convenient for us at times. So we love to have our meetings then. We're never going to change that. It's as a matter of fact, we're never going to change anything. I love Rotary this way it is.
All right, thank you, Jim. So there we go with the last Rotarian attrition bill. That was actually done by our zone. And look, it's not just a problem in our district with some of our clubs. It's a problem overall. North America has really been suffering in membership, but we know that we have clubs that are just booming. Okay. Kaiser, is anyone on from Kaiser today? Okay, I don't want to say anything negative about Kaiser, but Kaiser is growing at like 30% in membership. And it is unbelievable what is going on there. But they're growing because it's the focus of their club's leadership. Their president, every meeting, when you come in, there's an application sitting in front of you at your spot at your table, and an index card, and it says, "Who do you know?" And so that runs every week, week in and week out. And it has just been a tremendous boom to that club. The Who Do You Know tool is great to use, whether you're a big club or a small club. You can get, if you're a 20-person club, get some index cards and tell them, who would be a Rotarian in our community. It's one of the things that works. But I wanted
No,
to
I'm here from the Kaiser Club.
go ahead, Margot. Yes,
How
you're
are-
the one
how
that
are you, sir?
invented it. There you go. Would you like to talk about it?
So I think I know that how I started with it, Perk said we need to grow the club. And I was like, all right, well, I can't do this by myself. So I have to get everybody in our club, or as many as possible, behind it. So I started with a challenge that every time someone from the club brought in a membership application, there was an item that went into a sponsorship basket. And that sponsorship basket would be drawn at our Christmas party. So the more times you brought in a membership application, the more chance you had to win the sponsorship basket. And there was probably at the end, there was probably $400, $450 worth of items in the basket. So everybody got on board. Everybody was excited. They started challenging each other. Hey, I got one more than you did. And like you said, I always have the applications sitting on a table when they come in. I bring it up every meeting, how many members we have, how many members we've grown. And then we're doing a final push for the last part of this year. We're doing a scratch off for the finish line. So our finish line goal is 100 members. I'm not sure that we're going to make it, but we're going to give it a whirl. And every week, $20 worth of scratch off lottery tickets get put into the basket this time. So whatever, anyone that brings in a sponsorship gets a percentage of the scratch offs. Whoever has the most applications get to pull their scratch off tickets first, and then so on.
Wow. That is awesome. I've had the chance to visit with them. What they're doing is amazing. Last year they had a good year. This year it's unbelievable. But I want to go back 4 years, whenever Urban was district governor. Jim was our membership chair, and our zone come up with a program called Discover Rotary, and we have been using it since then. Okay, you'll hear more about this when we are in person. But Discover Rotary is it's a PowerPoint, and then we have the verbiage that goes with it. The program talks about Rotary International, the leaders, the foundation, and district, and then you have slides where you could take pictures from your club. This is what we do, okay? And of course, you got to make your own verbiage for that because we don't know. But anyway, we store this on DocDB. It's under the secured files, membership. It's right there. You can download it and go with it. Soon we will update it for Pam's year, but right now it shows President Gordon. It shows Governor Herb. And anyway, the success rate using this program is unbelievable, but you have to use it the way it's designed for. It doesn't work just in a Rotary meeting. Okay, you have to have a meeting just for new potential members. And then you have Rotarians there. I have recently found out or experienced like the better way to do this other than just one person lecturing. Like, I hope you don't think I'm lecturing right now, but giving the talk, to split the talk up a little bit. You get a whole different voice tone, cadence, etc. And anyway, it makes it go really well. Pam and I had the opportunity in June and July to do this. It started a new club that has 24 members in it. Okay, Herb and I started a new club in Hagerstown, another satellite club that is doing great using the Discover Rotary. We did one for Shepherdstown and Charlestown. We tried to do one for two clubs together. Does this work? It absolutely works. And we have grown just tremendously from that, but we have plenty of potential Rotarians there. So it gets down to you still have to ask. I mean, you have to identify those people that you think would be good Rotarians and invite them to a program such as Discover Rotary. I'm not saying it's the only game in town, but I will tell you it is a game that works. You don't have to invent a thing to do with it. We have, and you will find as you become president, we have started a program through the zone that our district has taken over. Colleen McCloskey's on here now. She is our membership action plan ambassador. Okay. She knows the ins and outs of the program. It's there for every one of you to use. It shows you your attrition rate of your club. It's going to ask you to pick a goal, and it tells you just what you need to do. It will give you, because of, oh, well, you're a club that loses a lot of members. You have a retention problem, or, well, you're just not attracting members. You have to invite more. But it gives you a game plan, and it is awesome. There's within that program is, again, Colleen's going to share this a little bit on the next pre-pets, but we will also be sharing when we're in person up at State College. But they're just tools. They're tools. That's all they are. The biggest thing I would like to stress is Rotary is a membership organization, and our members just do amazing projects at home and across the globe. Okay, don't get caught up in all the shiny objects, because you're going to run into a lot of them as president. Your number one goal is membership. Your number one goal is sustaining your membership and maybe growing so you can increase your impact. Because as Rick said, a lot of us are getting older. We are not going to be here forever. And so we need to fill those shoes so we're not turning off the light in our community. I mean, there's nothing worse. The guys, Dick will tell you that, Jim Everly, Swan, that has been district governor. There's nothing worse than seeing a club turn in their charter. Okay. And usually what's happened there is they just lost interest. So what is it that keeps you from bringing in new people? Anyone want to talk about that?
Yeah. And hey, Dana, as you're talking, I was going to ask you a question about that because, you know, I'm not really fond of sales. I don't like pushing things on people that they don't want to have, and I'm trying to convince them to take something that they may need or they should have. So that's where I stumble. It's more, I don't want to be somebody who's aggressive and trying to push something on something that a person
And
really
Steve,
doesn't
I
want.
totally understand that. But the way I look at our membership issues, it's kind of like Girl Scout cookies. Everybody wants them. They just need to be asked. You give the people the opportunity to join Rotary, and you're going to be shocked at how many people want to. I can share a quick story. Some of you guys have heard it. We started our satellite club. Steve and I are in the same club, 2019. Our whole thought process was we're going to get all these college kids that graduated, can't quite afford our club, so they'll join the evening club because they want to still, they were in road rap. Excuse me, I forgot that. They're going to join our club. Okay. That was our whole focus. Well, we had a brazen president at the time. Pam's friend Michelle, Steve and my friend Michelle. She said, wait a minute, I'm going to go up both blocks of Shepherdstown. And I'm going to talk to the business owners and see if anyone's interested. And come to find out, we had all these town business people that said, oh, we've been waiting for y'all to offer that for years. We can't do a 7:30 in the morning club. And so bang, we started. We had them ranging from 22 to 72 when we first started. And more of them were ranging that way. They were the local business leaders in the community. And I was just shocked. I'm not saying you have to do a satellite club, but I was shocked about that. Again, it's about giving the opportunity to join with us in the service projects that we do. Guys, I'm only talking about attracting new members, but you public image your club, whether you're using newspaper, Facebook, whatever you do, your website, Shepherdstown, some of you've been to Shepherdstown, we're a hole in the ball, okay? It's a town of 1,300 people. We have a Rotary Club of 93 right now. And I just turned in, we have 6 more applicants. Okay, so if you give people the opportunity, I'm not saying lower your standards. I'm not saying that. It's not about members for the numbers. It's about members for the impact. What you can do, okay? What you can do in your club, what our district can do, etc. So I'm going to leave it at that. We have, our zone offers monthly a membership action plan webinar. They have everyone that they've done for 2 years tape. So you can go to the Zone 33, 34 webpage and just type in maps. You can view them, all of them. You have some of the greatest leaders of road talking about the issues that we face, that we're facing as clubs, as districts, with membership, and then how to write the vote. It doesn't cost you a thing to do it. Some people, oh, it's too much. It's 45 minutes a month. Okay, listen to that. It's 45 minutes a month. So there's a lot available to us. Our district membership team is there to help. We're not there to push. We're there to help. So if you guys want assistance. I can't say enough about what Colleen has done. She's brought our map plan to a whole different level. So we have a good committee. We work with our Discover Rotary. We work with our Leads program, and it's all exciting. I see I got questions. Have to put on my glasses so I can see what's going on.
Okay, Dana, thank you so much. The other thing I might point out to you, Steve, too, you mentioned about being reluctant to invite people to the sales part of it. There's a couple ways that I might suggest that you can get around that. One is you can print up a Be My Guest card, which business card size, which just says, please join me at our meeting, and it occurs at such and such a time, day and time, as a way to chat with somebody. And then the Discover Rotary program is really not a sales pitch about Rotary. All we're asking you at that point is if you find somebody who you think could be an asset to Rotary, to just expose them to it. So it's a low pressure, no pressure sort of scenario set up for people to come in and just learn a little bit more about Rotary International, and then specifically about the club right in that area. Tammy, I know you had raised your hand a long time ago. Did you have a question that we could answer for you?
No, actually, it was just a statement. I'm involved in Toastmasters at the international level, and we hear a lot of the same conversations that you're having. And I think one of the things that we've discovered is, not just asking them, but everybody's asking what's in it for me, right? So the variety of service projects, find out what people like and see if they can spearhead a project. So you're talking about retaining members. I think it's always a good idea too, as we ask them those questions. What do you like? What kind of projects are you interested in? And then maybe kind of keep them engaged because it's their project and it's their interest. So I was just sharing that you're not alone. We're not alone in this, but there are a lot of different ways as everybody's expressed really good information. So thank you, Jim.
All right, thanks. And Pam.
Yeah, Tammy, exactly. Spot on. I was going to say, maybe before you even do the ask, if you just ask somebody to come along on a service project, they sort of get that buy-in. And then they're almost asking you, oh, I want to learn more about this. Why don't I come to one of your regular club meetings? Show me, how your club operates. And you can go a long way with that. Also, the card thing is great. We had one printed up and it said, plant the seed. And on the back of it, we just had a few lines and it said, who asked you and what's your club, where we met, and just please come as my guest whenever you have time. But a comment also back to Dana. If any of you are thinking about doing that Discover Rotary, it's all free. It's all on DACDB. Like Dana says, you can customize it then for your club's pictures. But the part I want to point out is don't be afraid to include another club in that. Because yes, you might lose a member that might say, oh, maybe this club fits me better, or vice versa. Or you might put your heads together and say, you know what, we need a whole different club. So think of it as not losing a member, but gaining a Rotarian, no matter what club they go to. So it's very important. When we had it, we thought, oh, well, we're going to have competition between the Charlestown Club and the Shepherdstown Club. It wasn't like that at all. If the Charlestown Club, which is a noon club, fit you better, then there's a noon club offer. The Shepherdstown's a morning club, so it's a breakfast. So if that fits you better, and then if none of those fit, they were willing to say, hey, we've got a satellite club in the evening too. So it's not limiting your possibilities, it's actually broadening your possibilities. That's all.
Okay, terrific. Pam gave you fair warning at the beginning that we're going to talk a little bit more about membership. So other ideas that you have on engaging or attracting members in your area. So I'm going to open it up to the floor and see what ideas you have to share.
I think Rick has his hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Steve, there are a lot of people in a Rotary Club who are not salesmen, but there are a lot of your club members who are. And so I have always encouraged our club members, just give us the name and we will go from there, or we will go from there with you. And if you don't feel comfortable, if you don't feel that you have enough experience in Rotary, whatever it may be that makes you not the salesman, there are people in the club who can take that task on. We just need the names to start it.
Yeah, I think, I don't know how to raise hands here. I've been looking, but I got my hand up. So, Dana, thank you for that insight, that they want to be asked. And there's been situations where I've been wanting to be asked, and I was overjoyed when somebody asked me to do something. So that's something we should all carry with us when we're trying to recruit members. And Jim, your idea on pamphlets and brochures, it's kind of a silent way of doing that. So appreciate that input. So that's the only statement I got.
And you mentioned, that people like to be asked. I think that goes all the way through for engagement. I know you'll find as club president, if you stand up there and say, I'm looking to see if anybody be interested in helping out with this project, whatever that might be, your odds on getting a response aren't that great. Okay. If on the other hand, you can go over to Rick or to Steve and you can say specifically to them one-on-one, would you be interested in helping me with this? Or I have something I'm trying to do and I could really use your help. You're going to get a much better response out of people. Find it much harder to turn you down when you're asking them one-on-one than they do when you just do a big blanket announcement in front of the whole group. So I'll add that into it. And Ken noted that if you look at what is it, reactions on the bottom of the page is where you can raise your hand, which is over on the right-hand side of the bottom column there. It says,
Ken is a master. He knows where everything is.
He does know where everything is.
Jim, this is Susanna Tomlinson. I have two thoughts.
You didn't raise your hand, Susanna. I just got done explaining how you could do that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So we give out grants every year and we have projects that we give money to people. And for a long time, this woman was a recipient of money for us. And she would come and we would have a ceremony and she would get her check every year after the big golf tournament and stuff like that. And I remember turning to her and saying, are you involved in any community project or programs? And she said, yeah, I think I'm involved in a club of some sort. She says, but I don't know. And I said, you get a check from us every year. I said, would you like to join us? And she says, I would love to join you. And it was simply because nobody ever asked her. And the other thing that happens at our club, sometimes we do projects outside and we do things like that. And every once in a while, we have people who will come and just volunteer to help us, like my sister-in-law or my aunt or the guy next door or something like that. Just say, hey, you doing anything? Do you think you can give us a hand on Saturday? And before you know it, they're interested in things. So there's a lot of opportunities out there.
Great, thank you. I don't know who all this went to, but Dan Doherty is on the call, who's the district governor-elect for 7305. President, you'll have a chance to meet him when we all get together at PETS in March 2nd and 3rd. But anyway, Dan's comment on the Discover Rotary is that, don't look at it as a sales pitch. It's informational Rotary in a nutshell presentation, which lasts about an hour and gives them information about RI, the district, and the club. So it's just a way to expose them to what's there and going from there. So it's a no pressure opportunity for them to see something. Mr. Orsini.
Well, I just want to add that, last year, I don't know how many of you know this, but our district ended in positive numbers. First time ever. Okay. And it's because we worked it. It takes work. Don't get me wrong. It takes work. But we were one of the few districts in our zone that did end on positive numbers. When I mentioned MAPS before, the Membership Action action plan, it gives you a success track. So you can grow your club by 0.5 members, or if you want to, or 0.5%, or if you want to grow by larger, you put it in. But it tracks you from week to week, and it helps you get there. I would like to share this past month, we had someone from Florida talking about something that they do at the club level, and it has really taken on, and now all those clubs are going to try. But they decided to recognize the business leaders in our community. Okay, that weren't Rotarians. Invited them to a meeting that they had set up, and they were each given like a 3-minute opportunity, like we would do a classification talk. I'm sure they limited to how many they could. You know, they give them a party favor, like an ink pen, something like that. But anyway, everybody that they invited turned around and said, hey, because they were getting recognized. How do you become a member of this? And it was just that simple. And it is a fabulous idea that any of our clubs can use, you know, because I'm sure someone in your community might be a leader that isn't in your club. So it's a way to get them there. It was just, again, the MAP program, every month, there's tips of how to grow your club, how to engage your members. Hey, that is huge. I will say last week, I did called an RLI class on engagement. And one of the things that's very interesting there is 46% of our members join for friendship. 48% of our members stay because of friendship. So promoting that fellowship is a whole big part of Rotary. You don't have to know every answer about Rotary International, the district, etc. But just the friendship and fellowship of your club will go a long, long way for recruiting new members.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments, thoughts on membership at this point? Okay. Let me give you then a couple things that I want to make sure you get before we depart here, because there's some other things coming up, but I do want to make sure. There's the next pre-pets, which is pre-pets number 3, is on February 21st. Okay. And it is at 6:30 p.m. And you should have received an email about that early this evening. You will have to register for that one. We have not made you register to attend these, but for the third one, because it's going to have all 3 districts involved, you're going to have to get a particular invitation to it, a specific invitation to it. So you're going to get an invite to register, and then you'll get an actual login from it. So that's the 21st at 6:30. And Jan, you have a question.
Just to let you know, I did get that before we got on here, and it says January 21st,
Okay.
but
Well,
we know it's February.
It is in fact February. It's a Wednesday. It's 2 weeks from today. So thank you for that. We will get it corrected. Apparently we have a typo. January was so much fun and so cloudy, we wanted to go back to that again.
Not really.
Anyway, but it is February 21st, so thanks for pointing that out. Okay. All right. Governor-elect Pam, anything you wanted to mention to the crowd at this point?
I think we're in good shape. I want to put this out though for the PEs. We would like you to bring your club bylaws. It's only for your use to the pets training. Because one of the little segments we're going to do is be about going over the bylaws and be sure that you have a few things in there that are key for your club. So we're not going to be looking at them as a group. We're not going to be sharing them. No, I won't be looking at them, just for you to look at so that you know and you have in your little pamphlet your bylaws. And we just want to be sure that we can go over a few key points about those. Other than that, I think we're in good shape.
We also want you to bring your laptop or device with you.
Yeah.
Okay, because we will find time to be online and to work on some of the goals that you have. So if you have a chance to discuss goals with your board prior to pets, that would be very helpful. If you're not sure about the goals, go ahead and take a look at them on My Rotary. You will see them all, what has been put in for the current year. You can see, I think you can go back a year before if you'd like to, and you can certainly jump ahead to your year. And you'll have a chance then to enter information into that, which includes everything from fundraising goals to membership. So it's all in there. And I do want to mention to you, we talked tonight about the budget. And I hope you'll consider some of the things that Governor-elect Pam is really hoping clubs will do this year, which includes being more involved in the four-way test speech contest. It includes sending a student or two to RILA. But there's certain things that are going to come up. So take a look at the budget that you have now and see what other projects you might be interested in. This is your chance to make a mark on your club that can be lasting. Depending on what you put into the budget, what new projects you might be interested in. That's a great opportunity to do that. And I think engaging club members and attracting new members is really the same thing. Okay, I mean, I know you're going to have to ask somewhere along the line for somebody to come to a Discover Rotary program or to show up for a project that you're doing. But it's really about bringing them in and getting them excited about what you're doing. And that is no different than the way you manage to keep members in the club, is to keep them involved and keep them excited about things that you're doing, including asking them what they think and how they would approach it. And if they have new ideas, somebody mentioned before the idea of asking a new member what ideas they had, what projects they find exciting. Ownership goes with that. If you tell me that it's all about youth or mental health or whatever, and we find a project that fits into that category, we're going to have you excited about it and probably have a better project because of that. So it's important that, like I say, I don't think there's a big difference between attracting members and engaging members. It's all the same thing. You have to keep them involved in what's going on in the club. So go ahead, District Governor.
Tim, I want to circle around about these goals again. It's proven that clubs that enter goals are more likely to succeed with those goals than clubs that just sort of have that backdoor goals and they know what they're trying to do, but no one really writes it down. So definitely when you all come to Pets, if you have not had a chance to talk to your board, we just want you to get a preliminary line in there going for your goals. Let's get you in, at least you know where to find them for clubs that don't put goals in. Clubs that do put goals in, great, but that way you'll go back to your board. You'll still have March and April. Here's what I put in at Pets. Do you agree with this? Do you think this number should be higher? Should this number be lower? You adjust your goals then. We're not saying not to include your board, but then you can vote on them as early as May so that you're up and ready to go, or even June, whatever your bylaws say, so that when you go into office, you're set and you know exactly where your budget falls. And then as far as the goals, then, we'll go ahead, we'll get them in, but then you can always fine tune them with your board.
Dick, you had a comment.
Yeah, something came up today and we're talking about different things. And I'll get information for Pets when we come to it. There is a club in New Jersey, my old district, that just formed. It is based on mental health awareness.
Okay.
A Rotary club.
Mm-hmm.
Whose main focus is mental health awareness. And I have never in my history seen a Rotary club with a single focus, but I will get more information on it for Pets if you want to hear more about it.
Okay.
That's one of the newest clubs, is Area of Focus.
Yeah, a cause-based club. is,
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
And they're
So
coming,
the
more information
environment
on it for pets.
piece,
Right.
there's all kinds of things, yes.
yeah. Karen, you had a comment?
No, I was gonna say eco clubs for the environment. There's
Sure.
lots of them popping up, so.
Yep.
I was based.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else have a question before we depart? I'm not seeing anything. So again, the 21st of February, you're going to have an email that you need to click on specifically to get your correct login for that. And then, of course, the 2nd and 3rd of March, we're in person at the Penn Stater. If you have not made your reservation for that yet, please do so like tonight. I know that I'm working with the Penn Stater right now on lodging and other things, and we need to get our numbers all squared away. So please go ahead and get that done ASAP, as in before you go to bed. So with that, thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks, 6:30 on the 21st. Thank you, and good night.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.